Afternoon, everyone. Can everybody hear me? My name is Troy Wethy. I'm here to lead our job search strategies webinar for this Tuesday. If there's any comments or thoughts or things you would like me to go over again, I encourage you all to use the chat. As always, I will leave you at the end. We will respond by sending you an email with other resources and also with an opportunity to work one-on-one as an appointment with me through Teams. And that is something we go through bookings. Again, my name is Troy Wethy. I'm very excited to be here to assist you. As everyone, the job search strategies, the resumes, the interviews, the cover letters, LinkedIn, all of this is kind of a challenge, even for those that do this all the time. So I empathize with anybody going through this situation. Main reason I'm here today is to provide you some information to allow you to search for some additional information. And from that, hopefully we can meet one-on-one on Zoom or Teams. And from there, we can then discuss further things to help you with your process. Again, I am just another earpiece for you to discuss things with, and hopefully I can assist you. As I stated before, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I did this at 2 other universities. I also did this at a location working with people with disabilities, and I also did corporate recruiting and outsourcing. So hopefully some of those different experiences can relate to some of the things that you're going through, but as always, everybody has their own unique journey. Our main process here is to find a job, but the key thing is we're not desperate. We are going to go in this with a plan. We are somebody who's not just out there sending resume after resume, particularly if it's a generic resume, to a variety of different places, applying to everything. That shows a sense of kind of just urgency that we want not to have. I always encourage people to pause and think about things before they do that job search. I realize people need jobs. I realize people do need to find something quickly and support their family, but I strongly encourage you that slow, methodical approach for the first couple of days of just doing your research and finding out what are the best things for you is really the most important key here. So the key thing you want to do is let's put this together. Let's be organized. Let's use our phone, our computer, maybe it's a notebook, a planner, and let's think about, what do I want to do? What can I do? What am I trained to do? What do I like to do? What is the degree I'm getting, and how does that relate to what I want to do? And that's really important. And once you have that decision, then we need to look at, well, who wants my services? What are the organizations? What are the job titles? What are the types of companies and the industries that I would be a best fit for? And from there, you get a better sense of what's out there. So you are going in there with your little grocery list of what you want and what you need. And that's a much better approach, because you will get the things you need and the things that are going to be best for you, versus if you haven't eaten in a while and you go through that fast food restaurant and you just grab things because you're really hungry. Okay, so the key thing is survey your professional environment. There's a lot of research out there that you can do on your own. I always recommend BLS.gov. That is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. It is an online resource that you can pull up on pretty much any job out there. All the statistics and all the research there are like 1 year old. So when they produce it in 2024, it's based on everything they logged in 2023. They give you information about what training you need, what type of personality characteristics, what experiences, what's the market like, what industries are more likely to hire you, what areas of the country, cities, and states that have the most jobs, what are the education and trainings and backgrounds that you need. And it just kind of gives you that thing. This is the kind of the Bible or the encyclopedia of that specific job. And so it just gives you a great way to kind of have a base. From there, I always recommend Glassdoor, because you're choosing where you want to spend 40, 50, who knows how many hours a week at a place. Well, while most people put things on Glassdoor probably aren't the happiest people, I think it's important to at least know what might be some red flags. So look at Glassdoor, look at wherever you're trying to find jobs, the industry, most particularly the company, and find out what were some of the challenges or problems people had. That can determine, is that something that's a big thing for you? If it's not, then it's not an issue. But if it is something, that might be giving you a chance to ask further questions, to do some research, do some networking, to use LinkedIn to find out information. And most particularly when you talk to people or do an interview, Are there some things there that you need to know to determine your priority list? Well, how are you going to know your priority list unless you've done some of the research? It's really important to know, what is the salary like? What are the different companies paying? What is the industry, the cities, the states, the online, the hybrid, the in-person? How are those things going to affect you? And looking at that, getting a sense of, what are the most important priorities for you? Is it your skills? Is it your experience? Is it the respect you get? Is it the freedom, flexibility? Is this company known for micromanaging? Is this company known for letting people have more freedom or working remotely? Those are all things that are important to you, and you need to figure out what's most important to you. You're not going to find everything at every job, but if you know more about yourself and you've done your own assessment, or you've gone online and done assessments that what's most important to you, it makes you much more strong in determining the right things for you. Keep in mind, your research gives you a basis to have good conversations with others. It doesn't show that you're going into something and you're just unprepared. You're asking wise questions. You know about what's going on in the field. You know about industries. You know about the job skills required. You know about the companies and the competitors and some of the challenges. And you can have those discussions with people, which also makes you fit in and be more of a cohesive person when you ask these questions, whether it's an interview or whether it's outside of that, or whether it's networking or messaging or on LinkedIn. When you know stuff, you come from a language that you can speak to these people and you can understand them. And the more consistent you are and the better you sound to them based on your ability to relate to them, the better you're going to be. So those are really important things to do. I always encourage people get involved with professional and student organizations. They give you a lot of information. They give you mentors and members and stuff like that that you can talk to and ask questions. These could be as simple as, how did you get in this field? What's the most important skills or experiences to get into this field? What are some of your challenges? What do you like or dislike? What would you do in my situation? These are all important things that you can start now, so that when you start the job search and you look at companies and you go directly to them, you're going to be much wiser and much more prepared. So I think that's a really important thing. The other thing I don't think people take advantage of enough is part-time contract work. I've listed Snagajob. There's temp agencies out there. There's opportunities for internships. Even if it's, let's say you're currently working in a job, you take a day off and you do something else which is related to what you want to do in the future, which is related to your degree or a career transition, to get a sense, is this a good fit for you? That may be a much wiser thing to do with your time off than just going on a vacation. Think about that. Is there an opportunity for you to find something in a specific company, even if it's not directly the job you want, to get some hands-on part-time contract or temp experience, to see what it's like, to get to meet people, to get some connections there. So I think it's always important to get some hands-on experience with a company or with an industry or in a job title that you'd like to have. Next part is people change. I am a career assessment counselor. I've done about 35 different assessments over the years, and I've done them on myself. And I've noticed, wow, the things that were important to me 10 years ago, 20 years ago aren't the same. The things I excelled at and don't excel at now have also changed. So I encourage you to look at different things. You may have been more introverted. Now you're confident and you're successful in your field. Maybe you're more extroverted, or based on what you've gone through in your own life, you might have been more outgoing. Now, because of transitions you've gone through, you're more maybe quiet and soft-spoken and more internal, and you want something that's more like that in your job. So look at the different things that are out there. One of the websites that I do recommend is called Truity. The reason is it has free online assessments. They're not the full extensive ones that you would have to probably pay money for. Some of these consist of personality inventories, skill inventories, interest inventories. Looking at your values, there's things you can just put in those keywords and see free assessment, and you'll find lots of things there. But I think it's good to look at all those things. And if you were somebody who didn't mind working 50, 60, 70 hours a week when you were younger, but now your life has changed, you have family, other interests, maybe look at something different. The Career One Stop is also another valuable assessment that I encourage people to look into. And I said, there's no wrong here. It can also lead you to ask questions of other people, friends, family, colleagues, even meeting with me. These are some of the things that I found. I'm not sure about that. Those are things we could discuss, or obviously you can discuss with other people. Key thing is career happiness and job satisfaction are important things in a person's life. They affect everything out there, and you can look up your own research. But generally, when I look at research, a lot of people are found that they're not in the right field or the right job or the right industry or the right company. So if you don't put the time into it and then you get stuck and feel you can't leave, this is where you can use that opportunity. And when I did downsizing and outsourcing and things like that, it was a very challenging and very traumatic experience for the people going through it. The only plus of it I found is, let's rethink things now. What if you wanted to do something different or have a different lifestyle or try something unique because maybe you were great at this job, but you're bored or you don't feel challenged? This is a chance for you to think about those things while you're looking at a career transition, or you're using your degree to elevate or try something new. Sorry. Keep in mind, you need to have a strategy of communication. Well, what is that? That's kind of your self-sales pitch. That's your summary on your resume. I am a such and such person with a background in this, with skills in this, with training and education in this. This is how people will know who you are and what you can do. And this is the key thing. 90% of the people are finding their job through connections and LinkedIn and networking and facilitating through organizations and clubs and churches and other organizations, things through your family, things through your kids. That is really where most of the people find. And if you have a good sales pitch and you understand what you want and need, and you start talking to people, you will be shocked how many people may not be doing what you want, may not know exactly the organizations for you, but they know other people and they can talk to those people and connect you. And that's going to be a great opportunity, because with this self-knowledge that you have, you now are doing a more wise search for yourself to find out what is that great fit. So you go to work, you're happier when you leave than when you came. You get a lot from it, you're energized. Those are the things everybody would like to have. Keep in mind, when you know this information, how you write your resume is going to be much better. If people just send me a resume, say, this is what I got, and I don't know what they're trying to get, I don't know what their job goal is or their career goal is, it's very hard for me to understand it, which is similar to an HR or a hiring manager. But if you've done your research and you look at your last job, which may have nothing to do with what you want to do in the future, you can look at the skills that you need to have and the training experience. Well, I did that once. I did that 5 times. I've had an opportunity to do this. Those are the things you're going to put in those past jobs to show fit, experience, skills, background, personality characteristics. It's not about what you did in the past job. It's what you did in the past job that relates to the future job. So that's where I really want you to know the job you want. So when you look at your job description, it's not like, I want to do this, and then underneath it, it shows stuff that's completely different. You need to look at that and promote the things that are going to relate to the future. One of the things I strongly recommend, have multiple people look at your resumes, family, friends, colleagues. Everybody will give you a different impression. A lot of people like, this is the best resume I've ever done, and you're excited about it. And then somebody else looks at it. It's like, did you consider this? Did you consider that? If you don't have other people look at it, you're probably not going to notice yourself. Keep in mind, you can also send those to me, and we can definitely meet over virtual to look at your resumes. Also, you can look at JobScan. That's a nice website that allows you free 5 scans to look and see what things you're missing. You can apply ChatGPT. You can look at a lot of different online services that will kind of give you a sense of what words you're using the most. And you can also scan the job descriptions of the jobs you want and see what are the things that are most important here. Am I doing those? If you're more old school, you can look at the job title, the job description that you want to do. I recommend generally doing 3 to 5. Look and highlight the things that are consistent. Look at your resume, and it says, I need to be able to do this, or experience in this, or this type of personality. Do I have that on my resume? Now, if you don't, and it's something you can do, definitely add it. But if it's something you don't have, and it's something you don't like to do, or something you don't want to do or have experience in, well, that's something to keep in mind. Is this the right fit for me? Or can I get those experiences? Can I do some reading? Can I watch YouTube videos to better understand those things, to add those things to my resume? Keep in mind, the more you do this research, the better you'll be able to define your target market. There's certain jobs out there that were really popular and people liked, that they're not available anymore. Technology maybe has taken them over, or time has changed, or changes happened during COVID that these aren't as popular. Those are things to keep in mind. So when you look at these jobs, you want to think about, what does the future look for? Look at organizations that fit. Are these remote? Are these close by? Is it going to require you to drive 30, 45 minutes? Is it something you can be hybrid? Those are things to keep in mind. Look at the industry. Do you want a smaller company? Do you want a bigger company? Those are things for you to consider. How is that going to affect the benefits? Could be more time off, could be more personal time with the people there. There's a variety of things there you're not going to know until you've done research on the industry and the companies. Keep in mind, you can also look at salary.com to get a sense of, well, what if I moved? I've never lived here before. It looks like a great job. And then you look at it and look at the standard of living, and that might be more difficult than you think. And oftentimes I'm surprised that jobs in areas that are great places to live and are more expensive, sometimes are paid the same, sometimes are even less than jobs in areas that are less desirable. And you're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, the making sense is people want to live there, so they don't feel like they have to pay as much because they know they'll get a lot of people to apply. So those are all the things to consider. Again, some of the research things, there's tons out there. I just listed a few: ONET, LinkedIn, Indeed, professional and student organizations. Remember, you can be a member of a professional association if you are a student and get a discount. So take advantage of those. They have career sites on there. They have resources. They have links. They have videos there. They have members and people that you can connect with. And I strongly encourage you to do that, because who you know is the most important thing out there. Keep in mind, the industries that you are going into will determine if you're the right candidate. You need to know, what are they looking for? So you have to be somebody who's kind of considering this as a business plan. What do they need? What can I bring to the table? You're trying to provide services to the clients of these organizations and also be a good fit. Gathering that marketplace information. Again, this is something, some people can remember all this stuff. I find it easier to track it. Put it in however process you need. In the past, I used to give binders to people and they'd record it that way. People use their phone, people use computers, people like to write notes. There is no best method. It's what the method is that works for you. Keep information down. If you meet somebody and you know they work at such and such company, write that down. You get their name, you get their job title. Afterward, you go on, let's say LinkedIn, and you look it up. Well, how am I going to find that information? One of the things that I will be doing is I'll put in the company name, I'll put in people, I'll put in a job title. That'll give me the people that are doing maybe what I want to do. And I'll look up their resumes and I'll look at what they have in their LinkedIn and see where they've worked in the past, what they've done, their job titles, other companies they worked for, and thinking, wow, I never thought of that company. Where's that company? Because maybe I can't jump into the company that they're in right now because I'm new to the industry, but I look at other places they worked at and that gives me ideas. And from there, they have connections and you can reach out to different connections. You can message these people saying, hey, I'm a student, I'm graduating this. What do you recommend? What do you like and dislike about your job? Come up with your own little occupational interview. Obviously, similar things such as GCU alumni, professional organizations, other colleges, if you're getting a graduate degree right now, that you can look into. And there's a variety of things that you can look into there. There's a lot of organizations in town that may not even be related to a specific career, but they could be related to a charity that some of these organizations work with. There's another way to run into people. Okay, keep in mind, you got to get your message out. Whatever time you're spending on texting and emailing and social media, you should record that and think, well, how much time am I spending on my job search? And it's not applying for jobs, but it could be simple things such as research on a company, sent a message on LinkedIn, did some searches on Indeed or Career Builder to see what's out there. The thing that you see when you look at those, if you see there's so many jobs in a specific pay range in a specific area, that's a good sign. They're hiring, that's in demand. If you look at it, you don't find much, that could be something you need to do some more research in to see, is this a good field? Is it a good industry? Is this a good job title? Maybe I need to pivot and look elsewhere. And that's something we can also discuss. If you do schedule an appointment with me, I can work on that with you. So those are some of the key things to keep in mind. I also recommend hunter.io. This, you can verify professionals in fields and people that work at specific companies and get their email addresses. I think it's perfectly appropriate to reach out and say, I'm a such and such student. I'm in this field. I'm looking to get into this. Just wondering if you have any advice, or you'd be willing to email me back, message me, or talk to me on the phone for 10 minutes. Okay. Keep in mind, networking is the way everybody is getting their jobs. There's a variety of different ways to get it. Obviously, it could be online, it could be direct messages, it could be emails, it could be talking to people, it could be LinkedIn. There's no best approach. I think a little bit of each, but look at the strengths you have and the areas that you're most comfortable with. And that's going to be the best way to use your time in your job search versus just sending out resumes. If you are sending out resumes, realize you don't just put one out there and send to everybody. You do need to target and adjust it for every specific job. You may have several different resumes because you may be looking at different industries. You may be looking at different job titles. You may be looking at different pay scales. So those are all things to keep in mind. I always recommend save your resume with your name and the job title on it. That's an easy way for you to keep track of it. Obviously, keep your resumes in Word to make adjustments, but when you send a resume out to anyone, send it as a PDF. That way it won't get scrambled in the email and it'll look more professional. Keep in mind, sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't. Thank the people for anything they've done for you. It's a nice thing to respond back. Hey, I found an article, or this is something interesting, to show you are giving back. People do appreciate that, and they remember you. And it might not be now, could be 3 months, 6 months, a year later, they come up with something and remind themselves of you and like give them a call. I find this a lot. If I get a message on LinkedIn or on Facebook, oh, this person's got this new job. Oh, I know this person here. They're looking to go into that industry. Let me kind of connect them together. So the better you do to say thank you, the better people will do to help you. Okay. Keep in mind, talk to lots of people. Talk to hiring managers. You can directly message people in LinkedIn and directly in the company's website. That way they don't have to search for you. There may or may not be a job available right now, but things change all the time. I've found many times where people reach out, try to just be social, make a connection. They say, well, we just lost somebody this week. They just put in their 2 weeks a week ago, and we're going to be starting the process, but we haven't even posted yet. Here you get a chance to get in there. They're like, can you send me your resume? They look at it, they call you back. Would you be willing to do a phone interview next week? Those things happen far more often than people think, and that you're talking to the right people, you have a much higher percentage chance of getting noticed and getting hired versus if you apply and 50 other people apply, you might be the perfect candidate, but you never get to the level to actually have that conversation. So I strongly encourage you to reach out to people in a variety of different areas. Also, keep in mind, there's no perfect way. The research has shown 70% or more are finding their jobs through connections, LinkedIn, and networking. So I do encourage you to spend a higher percentage of that time there. You have to look at your skill sets and your comfortability there. You can obviously join organizations. You can obviously apply through tons of websites. There's so many out there that do specific salary ranges, that do specific industries and companies and things like that. You can try them all, but do not spend more than 50% of your time there, because statistically, they say anywhere from 3 to 20% of the people are finding jobs through applications through these big websites. So that's one thing I will encourage and recommend you. Finally, keep in mind, every time you have a conversation with somebody, whether it's formal or not, you're doing an occupational interview. You're trying to find out, is this a job that you could do? Is it a job that you could do at specific organizations and specific industries? Do you have the right kind of personality and chemistry to work with people? I mean, you have to make those choices. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong, but if you find you're working with people and they're significantly different than you like to work with, that's something for you to at least be knowledgeable of, to think of maybe there's a different industry or a different organization for you. Again, also, you'll get a sense of what is the compensation. Pretty much everybody, to a certain extent, while you can research it, you get a sense of what people know and what they're getting paid. And you want to know, is this an industry that I could grow and develop in? Again, anytime you meet with somebody, say thank you, send them something such as a thank you, such as an article. If you're meeting with somebody in person, you make sure you pay for the coffee or something like that. go out of your way. People will recognize those things because it's something that a lot of people don't do. And I'm shocked a lot when I talk to people and they say, "Yeah, I had an interview yesterday. I thought it went pretty good, but I wasn't sure." And we talk about it and positives, the negatives, what they should do. I say, "What, did you send them a thank you yet?" No. I'm like, let's do that right now, even if it's a day or two late. That's really going to stand out because those are the kind of things that people do that people want to work with. Key things to keep in mind. What are the things to remember? Well, do your research. Know everything you can about an organization, about a job title, about an industry, and about the competitors that are out there. So you show that you are a self-made person. You're a business person applying a business proposal and a business plan as a part of your job. Make sure you know enough information. When you know this, guess what? You don't have to practice your interview questions. You've already done it ahead of time. Your resume is a great fit. You can answer all the questions and give them examples of what you've done in the past and how it relates to the future. You have a good strategy, and maybe sometimes there's jobs at a place and it's not the best fit, but because you presented yourself so well and you were so confident and organized, they think of you for a future job, or they think of you for a job within the organization that maybe nobody knew about at the time. Keep in mind, the more prepared you are, the more natural you are, you're going to be able to make a better impression, and something might not work out now, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, it could be that great opportunity that's just waiting for you. Okay. Finally, I like to always thank you all for attending. I will send you out the information for how to connect with me. As always, feel free to ask me any last questions in the chat, but you can also email me at GCU at troy.wethy@gcu.edu, professional resources at gcu.edu. Any of those ways, I will send you an email to the email address that you listed here. I will send you a copy of the PowerPoint, and I will send you a list of resources that you can reach out to me or you can search on your own. And again, thank you again. I'm honored to be here, and go Lopes. Have a great day.